Hello and welcome back to the Disc Golf Pro Tour on JomezPro. We are bringing you round 3 back 9 coverage from the Memorial Championship presented by Discraft from Scottsdale, Arizona and Vista del Camino Park. It's big sexy commentary, Nate Sexton and Jeremy Coleman.
We have a little bit of an interesting thing going on here on the front 9. Not much to speak of in terms of killing it. Emerson Keith 5 down is a respectable number. And Eagles close there with 4 down, I suppose. But I mean, our leaders, Calvin and Paul, just fell behind and they brought everyone else right back into the mix. And if you look at that leaderboard, all the top 10, all within 6 strokes.
Look at Double G, 7 down.
He is out there on fire. He birdied hole 9, which only 4 players in the day were able to do. And we are on to hole 10 with a new mandatory right there, keeping the players down this tunnel.
The other thing that's new is the OB on the right side has come in much closer. Now it is the path, where in years past, sort of inexplicably, you were still in bounds, even if you were on the other side of that path. So I'm glad to see that change. Toughen this hole up a little bit, adding the mandatory, like you said. No big sky roller. You could go roller up the middle, you could go forehand, or you could throw a turnover. It looks like Eagle's going to elect to go with that forehand shot.
And I like this forehand flex play. This is gets you out over the fairway, but that's heading towards the 1 tree, but he is low enough and good enough to avoid all of it, and that's a ton of distance, over 400 feet. That's going to be in a good spot. Haven't seen a ton of flicks from Emerson so far this round, but if you get him on a technical course, you will see that weapon pulled out quite often, and he is very accurate with it. This time catching that outside edge of the tree, and that'll leave him a long approach. You really want to get full distance off this tee shot to make that approach shot much easier.
And here is that backhand turnover.
This
Calvin
is huge.
with that flippy destroyer again. A little bit of a forward slide. He's going to love that spot.
Paul going to go with the Zeus forehand. But I like this mandatory change. I think that...
How right is this going to go?
That's going to be almost unbirdieable unless he pulls out some crazy trick out of the bag here.
You think? I don't know. It kind of depends how much that tree's in his swing, I feel like. I don't think the distance is not unmanageable.
Maybe not unbirdieable, but yeah. And seeing how much he had left on that camera angle right there, it's possible. But the stance he's probably going to have to throw a forehand off his right knee. Yep. So that is one of the harder shots to throw. And who knows how much that ankle plays into the difficulty of this throw. He's laid it down nice. It's going to be inside circled too.
Yeah.
A good effort from that awkward stance.
A nice piece of commentary by you, if I do say so myself.
Oh, thank you. And that'll be a nice tap and birdie.
I'm going to call this as a razor claw. That's what that disc is called.
Is it really?
Yeah. Overstable putter.
Is it really called a razor claw?
I think so.
I thought you were just being silly with 2 words.
I was just going to say 2 random words. No. Razor claw.
All right.
That's a putter. An overstable one. And Eagle throws it forehand.
I love the names the Discmania comes up with. I just hadn't heard the razor claw yet. Okay. Paul McBeth's back, folks. You may have thought he was going to retire after the front 9, but you would be wrong.
Great putt there. You see, he has to go a bunch of wrist to get under the low ceiling. Got to really make a stab at that putt. Going downhill with the low ceiling is such a difficult shot type. He makes it look easy there.
Nice birdie for the Eggman. And you're staring at, oh goodness, as Emerson is staring at as well, that one of the most prevalent obstacles at this event. There are distractions all over the place. And I think that can be a bit strange at times because we like to be secluded in the woods. We don't see too many cars driving by or people walking on cart path or sidewalks. But that happens all over Fountain Hills, and it happens quite a bit here. That the sidewalk that you see, people are riding bikes up and down it all day long, every day. So you have to focus, you have to put that behind you, and you've got to lock down those throws.
Yeah, and we've seen Emerson with a couple struggles as of late from inside the circle. Saw him visibly frustrated there after that one, and who could blame him? On to 11, 759-foot par 4. A couple new mandatories here that don't let you interact with the path. This is really going left quickly.
I think got a little bit of a break there off of that bench area, because I don't think there was enough to stop that from skipping across the cart path.
Good position now.
I can't not call it a cart path. It really just is ingrained. Calvin with a nice destroyer, high and wide, pushing that is such a big tee shot for only being 10 feet off the ground.
That tree back there that he's about 80 feet past is kind of the mark of like a solid shot. He's so far past that. And Paul very wide here.
I like
Should have enough height.
Yeah, this is a nice drive as well. And you can just see that was a great shot. And Calvin is 40 feet past that.
Yeah. Emerson with the Ballista Pro.
He's got that turn nicely, and I really think the best lane is kind of where Calvin is. Over here, they're going to have to throw these hyzer shots. Where Calvin is, it's a straight lane to the pin.
You're going to have to go hyzer shot into the downslope. That's kind of the tricky part about it, I think. And there is one big palm tree up there as well, as McBeth does find a way to throw the straight shot.
That was a very nice shot. Left him pin high, 23 feet. Slightly uphill putt from there.
There's that last mandatory. You see Emerson get around that and slide up to about a 40-footer.
See what Eagle's left with. He's most likely going to have to go with a high spike hyzer with the FD3. But you can see that mandatory and what that causes the players to look at on these approaches.
How vertical is this thing?
Quite.
Wow.
Lawn dart there.
That was barely any right to left or any movement at all, just straight up.
And I think Eagle is escaping happily here with a birdie, which I'm not sure 100% if he connected with the concrete there on the bench, but it looked like he did.
Ooh, Calvin gives it a little scare on the way by with the Rhino.
That is a huge bounce back putt. Well done from the young man from Texas.
That'll cancel out that putt from the last hole. Beautiful birdie.
That's a good feeling. Calvin looking to capture a little bit of that feeling here. He's inside the circle, but pushing the back edge of it. That's a solid putt. Moves the 4 under for the round. That'll keep him tied with Eagle McMahon at the top.
Paul in for his birdie. And Eagle makes his as well. Hole 12, par 3, 377 feet. This one has a new longer tee pad, and you've got to get all the way over the water and up the slope to the elevated basket. I think a lot of players are looking at that wide, kind of flat to finish backhand, maybe even a little bit of a flex shot. I wouldn't be surprised at all to see Eagle go to a forehand here. See what these guys go with.
Yeah, he's going to go pull out the cloud breaker. See how much height he puts on this.
Lots.
Is it? Oh, yeah. Goodness gracious. You know, and most players who have the distance to get their forehand are generally going to have to keep this thing flat to maybe even Anheuser to get the full distance. Eagle has to go high Spikeiser just to slow it down.
But that's what you want. I mean, in a perfect world, you'd love to be slow coming into the screen because it's pancake flat. If you come in with speed, you're going to go long.
That's incredible. That's a great shot from Eagle.
Putting the pressure squarely on this man to answer.
Speaking of Eagle, that is the disc that Calvin will be throwing. And this is nice.
Wow.
A bit long. That'll be a tricky putt from outside the circle.
Oh, Macbeth has to stop there just before he released. Some kind of distraction or perhaps an issue with his footing. And he doesn't like this. Low and wide. Does clear the rocks.
Wow, that is maybe a bit fortunate. It looked like it was heading towards the gunite wall, but clears it just barely, and he'll have a long putt, most likely have to settle for par.
That looks good. A little long. But long is better than short.
Yeah, that's the miss on this one. You just do not want to come up short and having to proceed to the drop zone. So clearing the wall, all four players able to do so successfully. Now can we see some big putts land?
Just low.
I thought Paul was even further right. I certainly shouldn't have called that a par before he stepped up to the putt because he makes those probably 50% of the time, it seems like. Emerson flying waywardly left. Good height.
Calvin to keep pace.
And he is off the rim. Our job is usually revolving around stellar putting and trying to not like make it seem like it's the norm. And this round, it really isn't. We haven't seen the stellar putting that we're accustomed to seeing. It hasn't been atrocious, but there's been quite a few misses inside the circle, and these guys are well known for picking up almost everything within eyesight.
What I'm most excited about this season is just to play. I was playing 40, 30 tournaments a year for 12 years, and then that came to a complete halt. The most important thing I've learned is just have a little bit more patience. With patience comes more success.
Eagle picking up the lone birdie, and he's smiling.
Hole 13, par 3, 405. Very tricky shot here. There's a huge hyzer that's somewhat available. You also have this low straight line all the way to the basket. There's a mandatory on that biggest pine tree forcing you right, so no low forehand play to get all the way there. But this is a bonus birdie. Hard to get all the way up there to this pin, not to mention the fact that it's elevated and the water sits just 10 or 12 feet behind it.
Eagle lining up the big Spikeiser play, which is a great route, but the lane is kind of blocked if you try to push it all the way to the pin.
Maybe Eagle Power can change that.
Yeah, maybe. And that's connecting on that tree that you have to avoid, but that's fortunate to land inbounds so many times if that tree gets connected with off the tee. It brings the disc back into the water, but not this time for Eagle. Calvin going the more low direct line.
Oh, this, wow, I was going to say it looks fantastic, but that little brush of branches slows him down. He's going to have a decision to make from 50 feet.
Personally, I'd like to see them clean that up there because that looked like that was really in that money zone. Paul doesn't like that one. It's pushed a bit wide. I think he's going to connect with those trees. That hyzer shot needs to be kind of a tight inside line. You almost want to try to land about 25 feet left. If you try to park it right on the pin, those trees get right in the way. And Emerson, he's going the direct route, and it looks like he's made the adjustment from Calvin's throw, and that's inside the circle. A beautiful shot.
What's this hole averaging?
Average is 3.23, 18 twos on the day.
Eagle just missing there,
which is only 11% of the field. So I was a bit surprised in some way that that there were as many birdies as there were. We were kind of predicting there'd be somewhere in the range of 6 to 12.
Yeah, that 11%, that makes sense, I think, with no wind, but it certainly it's one you're feeling great about if you can pick it up. The rest of our players tap out here. Hole 14, par 4, 655 feet with some new mandatories. That is not something we're saying rarely today. There's so many new ones to keep the park a little bit more safe for all those passing walkers and bikers. This one's going to force players a little bit more up the middle than it has in the past. It's pretty short for a par 4, but with all those mandatories, you really have to be worried about your skips. Make sure you find that landing zone you're looking for. Emerson going hyzer here, going to skip nicely, I would think.
I personally, I like the change quite a bit. I think that it forces a more technical aspect on, a tournament that doesn't have a ton of technical aspects implemented into the design. So keeping players either forcing that inside tree or inside hyzer and trying to avoid that early tree. You also see a lot of forehands kind of flexing. So it's a lot of different options, but all of them are a little bit more technical than years prior. Calvin really wide. That gets a big skip, and he's going to be in a great zone there.
Paul taking a similar line. Oh, no. Attempting to.
Oh, has he missed the mandatory, or is he?
He might as well have.
Yeah, and so that actually is maybe not the worst thing that he just went ahead and missed the mandatory, so now he can go to the drop zone.
It probably makes no difference to his score. Once you're that far over there, there's no way you're going to reach the basket. So going to the drop zone and going to be a par, best case scenario.
Good forehand approach from Emerson. He has about 25 feet left for the birdie. I cannot think of many easier shots for Eagle McMahon than this one right here. Just trying to, I'm sure he's thinking in his mind, I can, as high as I'm going, might as well just try to throw it in the basket.
Yeah, it's not going anywhere on that angle.
Even Calvin going with the forehand, the popular play on this hole's approach. A little bit of skip, but that's not too bad.
All from that drop zone with the Luna.
He doesn't like that either, but that's really not that bad. It's just, again, he's just having to work for everything. Nothing is coming naturally. Nothing is quite as tight as we normally see from his game. He just doesn't make many mistakes.
And another one falls out for Emerson from circle 1.
Calvin in, and Emerson, fortunately, these missed putts are just for birdie. He's not suffering any unnecessary bogeys on the course so far. Hopefully he can keep that up, but being so close to the lead, it's got to be bittersweet that he's just not capitalizing on all of his opportunities. He could be leading this tournament right now.
And with the field as bunched as it is, you know, every missed putt is going to matter coming down the stretch. It's got to be, you've got to pretty much grab every opportunity you can to come out on the top. And Emerson, I'm sure, going to be regretting a couple of these when he looks at the leaderboard tonight.
When you're playing a sprint-like event like the Memorial is every single year, especially on a low wind year, you think back and 2 strokes could make the difference between 4th and 12th to 15th place, and that's a lot of money, a lot of tour points, and a lot of thinking after the event's over, going to the next event. Like, man, I made that mistake there, and you clean that stuff up, and you know, you're right back in the mix.
We're on to the 15th, a long par 4 with 2 late mandatories that force you to the right, so you can't cut the corner here. It looks like Eagle's going to show us a roller. This has the potential to get beyond those mandatories in one shot. This has good angle, good speed.
Holding cut for long enough that shouldn't be any danger of rolling up the hill. Nope, that's great.
He should have a pretty simple straight shot from there, I would think.
That is a huge weapon there. McMahon, all of 450, maybe even 500 feet off the tee. Calvin going big destroyer. If this keeps breaking to the right, it is.
Wow.
That is a monster tee shot for Calvin.
What an air shot.
He'll be looking at straight at the pin with no mandatories in the way. That is a bomb. Emerson going the inside line.
Nice. Gets it inside.
And if you
Great angle.
Yeah, this is fantastic. This might even start going to the left. No, it's going to curl a little bit to the right, but...
See you later, Eagle. Wow. Oh, unlucky with that tree, though.
Mm-hmm. Shouldn't be too big of an obstacle. I can't imagine that he can't stick up to the side of that one and get a good approach up. Paul going with it. Avenger SS.
There's the mandatory tree.
And Paul is going to be to the left side of the mandatory. And it doesn't matter now where that rolls. He's going to have to go to the drop zone, which is a very tricky spot to get up and down.
Mandatories in a row.
Okay, they lightened the drop zone. In years prior, that drop zone was quite a bit back, and you had to throw a very strange approach. So, a bit fortunate that they've kind of made it a little bit easier. And this is the razor claw, is that right?
Yeah.
Good skip around to the circle.
Emerson a little bit awkward here. Gonna have to get down low, throw the forehand. Will this skip?
It certainly will. And yeah, I guess you were right. That approach certainly played a little bit trickier than I'm sure he would have liked.
Calvin with the air shot. The big drive.
That is one of the better air shots you will ever see on this one.
And a nice approach to match.
Good speed control with the driver approach. Emerson 44 feet away and not feeling the putter game right now at the moment. He's got a bit of a comeback putt as well.
Paul to save par. And he will do that, but he's going to lose more strokes. Nice
putt
cleanup.
Yeah, that's good cleanup. Continuing that bogey-free round. And Calvin connects on the birdie to, I wouldn't say put pressure on Eagle, but to get the birdie, to say the least. And he's putting together a solid round.
Eagle moves to -9 with 3 to play. Hole 16, par 3, 390 feet. The basket up on this side hill, really difficult to get the disc to settle underneath this one. Really, really common to see a nice forehand go skipping up there and then turn right back around and roll back down. Backhand has a better chance of sticking, but it's so much more difficult to get a backhand up there at the basket because you have to swing it up above it or just throw extremely straight.
This forehand shot is not one that you want to throw an overstable disc. You really want to get something low that rides its way up the hill. Once you get up that hill and it has any angle whatsoever, almost 100% of the time you're going to see that disc turn around and roll back down. And most of the times it will roll across the path as well. So you really want to keep on low the whole way, and at the very last bit of the flight, have it just crawl up that hill.
Here is that laser straight backhand.
And that does not slow down until it is at 35 feet. If it just connected a little bit of metal on that pole, he would have had a tap in. Emerson's going to try to show us how it's done. Little bit of flex, low the whole way. Now watch this thing jump up the hill.
Beautiful.
And that is how you control the angle. That is a tap in, textbook shot from Emerson Keith.
Paul, not happy with this, but I think it's going to be okay.
Not that bad, but goes with a buzz off the tee, trying to really just drive it into the hill. Maybe look at that experienced play from Eagle. Putting so well from circle 2, but does not want to play the chances, any kind of rollaways. McBeth not afforded the same luxury. He has to make something happen, and he's 5 back of the leaders, and you do not want to finish the round 5 back of Eagle McMahon going into one more round at Vista.
Calvin with an opportunity to get back into a share of the lead, but he sails it over the basket.
Three under par, no wind at Vista del Camino. Could you have ever imagined that from Paul McBeth? The way he finished last season off, not at the USDGC, but the whole season as a first year with Discraft, he's playing so well up to this round. Just not what we're used to seeing from one of the best players of all time, if not the greatest.
I mean, forget last season. Let's just talk about Fountain Hills and the way he was playing there. A few miscues, but just like anybody. But overall, just same old Paul putting down 1080s.
Yeah. And we can't be too judgmental. We really don't know the extent of that injury that he suffered from the USDGC, but it just always catches me off guard. I'm sure as it does the viewers at home when you see McBeth not just getting birdies left and right.
Hole 17, par 3, just 243 feet with nothing in the way. Just a little bit of out of bounds long and out of bounds left. Certainly one of the easiest holes in the whole Memorial Championship.
This hole actually, it averages 2.61, which is funny to me when I relate that to hole 16, which was 100 feet further than this one from Fountain Hills. Averages 0.3 harder.
This one does?
Yeah, this one does.
Wow.
And it just makes me laugh because I was the only player in the field to bogey hole 16 round 1. It's kind of a funny statistic if you have UDisc. Pull it up, you'll laugh.
I'm really surprised that this one is as high as 2.61.
It's still the easiest hole at Vista, though, by a long shot. 2.61, I mean, this is every bit of a must-get birdie to get you over to hole 18 and try to finish your round with a couple of green numbers.
Paul goes with the high shot here.
And I think that's McBeth trying to make a run for the basket. At that height, he's not trying to park it. He's trying to pick up a hole-in-one and just get whatever he can to get himself back into this event.
Oh, no way.
That just needs to sit, and it does, but that is going to be that's going to be way more difficult than his last putt. And just not feeling comfortable on the greens. This is an important putt. That'll be the first bogey of the round for Emerson, unfortunately.
Just listen to all the noise and distraction going on the green.
And it's what happens when you have life in the fast lane.
It's the life we all chose.
Paul Ulibarri here with another hole breakdown. We're at Vista del Camino, hole 18, 381 feet. You got OB left, you got OB right, and we got a new addition of a triple mando in the middle of the fairway. Let's go check out our options. I'm sitting here at option 1, a big landing zone right in front of the mando. This is where people are going to try to land so that they can pitch an easy shot through and just get easy par. Option 2, sometimes the circumstances don't even allow you to lay up. And in that case, you're gonna have to try to navigate this triple mandatory into a really fast green with out of bounds on the left and a high-rise basket. Let's see how it plays out.
Thank you, Paul, for the great breakdown of the newly added triple mandatory and how that affects the play on this hole. This is a hole where you're gonna see 96% layups, as you can see here from Eagle. And just 4% of the field, I'm sure, is going to be brave enough to try to navigate that mandatory. This mandatory, I believe, was implemented to mitigate any sort of issues of shots going across the path. And
this is really high.
Oh, it had the right height, just a bit too far to the right.
But he makes the mando.
He does. It would have been fascinating to see where that would have landed. That had a great width to it.
You know Paul's going for this. Turned over.
Beautiful.
Flexing back. Can it slide?
And that right there is an Undertaker. I believe a Missy Gannon Undertaker. Shout out to Missy. Great shot from Paul. See if Emerson is able to connect on some of that bounce back percentage we alluded to on the front 9.
Going with the driver. This is left.
No, he has missed the mandatory. He's going to have to proceed to a somewhat scary drop zone.
I think if the missed mandatory drop zone is a little easier, I think.
Oh,
okay. I think there might be 2 drop zones.
Okay. And Eagle just having to pitch a hyzer round. He will finish this round most likely in first place. Calvin may give this one an effort from long distance. I don't know if...
Oh, Calvin's giving it an effort.
Yeah, okay. All right, we'll see about that, buddy.
Oh, we will.
That looks like a layup face if I've ever seen one.
Calvin's face doesn't show emotion. He makes runs at the basket, though.
Yeah, he definitely was running after that. I'll give you that one, buddy. I owe you.
Close.
But a conservative effort. Definitely wasn't going to do anything with too much hyzer that could have potentially skipped and rolled into the water.
Paul for birdie 2, just outside the circle.
He is low and... Emerson wanting to get off the course, bogey free through 16, finishing with a couple of red numbers there. That'll drop him down just a few spots. Most likely off the lead card And like I said before, you do not want to give Eagle McMahon any strokes going into the final round at Vista del Camino. Of course, he's done so well in the past.
Eagle shoots 10 under today, retains a one-shot lead over Calvin Heimburg.
And Paul with just one of the more surprisingly flat rounds we've really ever commentated on. And just like that, we've got two guys at the top of the leaderboard above the rest of this card. But let's see how the rest of the field did. Look at that. Drew Gibson is right back in the mix with an 11 under fire emoji round.
Wait a minute, Jay Coling, fire emoji?
Fire emoji, Jay Coling. What happened, boys, girls?
That's a great round. We've got a lot more action coming your guys' way. 18 more holes at Vista del Camino. Anything can still happen out there. As you saw, a lot of miscues, a lot of tricky shots, a lot of out of bounds. Come back and join us. Final round action coming to you tomorrow. Thanks so much to the Founders Club. Thanks so much to the fans. Thanks so much to the big fella.
Oh, thank you.
We'll see you guys.